People, organizations, and institutions throughout the world desperately need market-based solutions to the world's wicked problems in health, water, food, energy, learning, infrastructure, waste, security, and climate change. We created 10-10-10 for serial entrepreneurs to support them as they create new market-based ventures that tackle these wicked problems. We bring these prospective CEOs together for 10 days. We introduce them to one another and to the 10 wicked problems we previously identified with the help of industry partners.
I'm just incredibly grateful for how much work goes into us even being able to show up for 10 days. For 6 months, people are working on these problems and doing research, and then we show up and we get enormously well-researched information. Countless hours and nights went into that, and that's just a really cool experience. When in your life do you get an opportunity to meet with problem experts in 10 different areas that are incredibly important to improving the health of our society? People that have dedicated their entire lives to one specific area. Having the opportunity to sit down with them side by side and to hear their passions, their concerns, what keeps them up at night has been really the opportunity of a lifetime.
Please welcome Kim Bimestepper, Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing.
So how y'all feeling? So my name's Kim Bimestepper, and that long department means that I'm on the governor's cabinet, and I have the slice of the pie on his cabinet that's healthcare. So on behalf of the governor and his cabinet and 5.7 million Coloradans, I want to say thank you for coming to Colorado and making a difference. And I'm going to give you an applause. I want to give you a thank you as well. So here in Colorado, we don't care if you're a little younger, a little older. We don't care what color you are. We don't care what religion you are. We don't care who you love. What we care about is that you want to help people rise. You want to make a difference. And you bring your energy and passion here to do just that. And we want to thank you from the top of this state for everything that you do and everything you're bringing. And now that you've had a taste of Colorado, from 80-degree weather to a snow-ado, or whatever we called it yesterday, that didn't actually turn into anything, you have now seen all of Colorado for 10 days, and we say, if you've been here 2 weeks, you're a Coloradan. So welcome, you're a Coloradan. Because, yeah, this is the pioneering state. This is the first for women to vote and the first to legalize marijuana. So we can go from here to there, and we got it all. So I want to thank you for all the good work you put in this week. 10 wicked problems, I read about them. I actually came in yesterday to observe. I want to thank all the CEOs that came in. I want to thank the ninjas. I want to thank the validators, all of those who put input, and I especially want to thank Tom and Jeff for your leadership. Can we give them a big applause? So now, you might recognize a little bit that you're making a difference, but I want to put this in proportion. So in my role, I didn't have biological kids. So I look at it as I have 5.7 million people in my family, and 1.3 million, or 22% of that population, is on Medicaid, and I look at those as my kids. I want to, like a good shepherd, protect those kids, lead those kids to help them rise. These are our most vulnerable of our citizens in Colorado, and about 30% churn every year, which means they're coming on and off of difficult circumstances. Maybe they lose their job because it got shipped overseas. Maybe they found themselves in an addictive circumstance. Maybe they lost a child and they just need help for a little while they recover. There's so many reasons why people become vulnerable, and you are helping beating hearts and vulnerable belly buttons, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of my 5.7 million non-biological kids and my 1.3 million really vulnerable kids. And I want to put that a little bit in perspective. One of your projects was social isolation in the senior years. And so in 2017, January 8th, I checked my voicemail. And it was this, it was my dad. And he said, "Hi, Kim, it's Daddy. I've taken the steps to end my life. Sorry to leave this on you. You'll have to do your taxes. Well, you'll have to do our taxes. It's really cold here. Please bring a key, because, well, I won't be able to answer the door. I'm really sorry to leave this on you. I miss Mommy. I'm in pain. I can't walk anymore. I can't hear. I can't work in the garden. I'm going to visit Mommy in heaven. Love you, love you, love you, Daddy." Now, there are some experiences in life that you can't put words around to properly describe the depth of the turmoil that our family has gone through. You, in your work, are making a difference on that project. The social isolation, when somebody loses their spouse of 47 years, or 50, or 10, sometimes it can't be replaced. And if you can help just save one family from going through what our family's gone through, you have made an amazing world of difference. And I can tell you, with the 5.7 million Coloradans, there are suicide levels in our veterans circumstance, which is where my father was, that are double the rates of others. And when they get to the senior years, they need your help. And I so appreciate, on behalf of everybody in that circumstance, what that group is doing. I'm going to give you another one. And when I was a little kid, we lived in California. My dad had trouble managing the stress, couldn't sleep. So he called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No worries, coming in. Take this to go to bed at night, and take this to get up in the morning." One of your projects is pain management. Pain management has to do with opioids and addiction. There's so many opioids in the country in 2015. There was enough to have 30 pills in a bottle sitting in every household in this country. Now, when I was a little kid, it was the 70s. They were called uppers and downers. In that case, go to sleep and get up, downers and uppers. But it's the same thing. A doctor said, do this, the patient did that, and here, in this day and age, they found themselves in a very difficult circumstance. Now, my circumstance, my dad lost his job. We had to leave our community in California, move 3,000 miles to be near family to recover, to give him time to get his feet back under him, and we started over again. I know what it's like when mom says, we might get a divorce. I know what it's like to say, go and hug your dad. He needs your love and your help right now. You, through your work, are helping families who found themselves in addictive circumstances to rise out of those ashes and to get through, and more importantly, you're helping prevent. Now, I want us all to celebrate in Medicaid. We have reduced the opioid dispensation, pills and people, 10%, 4 years in a row. This will be the 4th year, which means we've dropped the number of pills we dispensed in the community by 40%. The people we have now stopped from having that addictive circumstances. Amazing. But we have, yeah, let's give that applause. So we are leading. We are industry leading. We are nationally leading in that. But we have all these people that got the drugs that you are now going to stop. So we're working now to help those people through a hard time, but you are helping us to avoid an addictive circumstance. So families like mine don't have to go through. And all the families who are struggling, you are helping to predict, and you're helping to make alternate pathways. There's another group of you that are dealing with fragmented care. Now, everybody in their family has cancer, heart disease, you have diabetes. Every family has some levels of those. And when you have fragmented care, you have depression that impedes the ability to address. So when you can pull the care together, whether you give systems that improve the ability of caretakers to communicate, or you help individuals and providers realize that there's depression going on, or you help the patient, you say the word cancer or diabetes or heart disease, I guarantee you about 40% of the time you're going to get depression. And if you can't get through the depression and you can't integrate that care, you can't get people to do the things to survive the cancer, to overcome the diabetes, to block that heart disease from impeding who they are and helping them thrive. And what that group is doing is helping people through difficult circumstances that we provide the best care that we can to help people rise. So I want to thank you on behalf of the governor, on behalf of this great state, and now that you are a Coloradan, you got to know that you are always welcome back, that we want your innovation here. We want your passion. We want your diversity of thought. We want your creativity. We want to make this the most welcoming healthcare innovation lab for the country. If you want to start a business in healthcare or innovation, we want you here, and we want you to know that you're welcome. And we want you helping every one of our Coloradans thrive and rise. And I can't say enough with my words how thankful we are that you are here, how thankful we are for your commitments, and how you are helping us change this great state. And so goes this great state, like marijuana, like women to vote, so goes this great state. We transcend all the other 50 states. Thank you so much for being here, and have a good time tonight.
Please welcome Tom Higley, CEO and founder, 10-10-10 and X-Genesis.
Wow. Big hand for Kim Bimesteffer. Thank you. Woo! Part of what's so extraordinary about this place, and it's a marvelous place to live, learn, work, and play, but part of what's so extraordinary about it is the people who are here. And I'm deeply grateful to know you and have you leading it as you are. And now we get to invite others from other places to experience some of what this is, and I'm thrilled about that too. Not that you can't all go back to where you came from. Well, maybe not all of you. Some of you should stay. So, thank you all for joining us today. It's a delight to see the faces in the audience. I see many, many, many familiar faces. I see someone I sat next to in a talk I gave just a month and a half ago. I see ninjas, I see validators, I see prospective CEOs, I see longtime friends, I see newer friends. And I see a bunch of faces I don't know, folks I've never met before, folks I've only talked to on the phone. And I want you to know that you're all welcome, every one of you. This is our 6th program to date. 6 of these 10-10-10 programs that are now 10-10-10 cities programs. This is our 5th program focused on health and healthcare. It is, this particular day, the finale. It's the culmination of our 6th program. And yet, it's not the finale for these folks. Not at all. And let me put to rest a misconception. You will sometimes hear folks write about us or talk about us as though we bring 10 serial entrepreneurs together, and what happens is they will create new ventures in just 10 days, and today they will pitch to all of you out there. But that's not what we do. If you came here today expecting that these prospective CEOs were going to stand up here and say, I'm now raising $750,000 or $1 million or whatever it is, that's not what this is. Not yet. It's not that. Because the problems we picked are bigger than that. And the time that we've started is earlier than that in terms of what they look at and what they understand, the prospective CEOs. And I want you to understand this, and the best way for me to help you understand it is this. So this bow tie, the visual representation of what we do, I have to explain. The knot in this bow tie is the moment a new venture starts. It's when a founding CEO or a group of founders create the venture, bring some capital in, and get things started. At that point, they're committed. And for the last dozen or so years, we focused almost entirely from this knot to this side of the bow tie. And what happens here? Well, you go to an accelerator maybe, you raise seed and series A, B, C, and D rounds of financing. If you're Uber, you raise through the alphabet rounds of financing. And you hope at the end of this right side of the bow tie to see a liquidity event. That's when you're putting the money in the bank and you're distributing the dollars to the investors who came to help this thing get started to begin with. That's when everybody reaps some kind of or some part of the reward associated with a venture. But the left side of the bow tie? What is the left side of the bow tie? Well, it really is the full complement of opportunities that might be selected being distilled through a process. We talk about it as listen and learn, leverage and launch, and that process is the missing entrepreneurial due diligence process. And I'm going to say a little bit more about that in a minute. But what happens is you're distilling, you're excluding things, you're deciding whether to explore something or ignore something as a prospective CEO. You look at something, this could be promising, no, it's not, it's out. This is intriguing to me, this is powerful. If I could do this thing, I would be proud of what I'm doing. I could generate a return on capital, but more than that, I could generate impact in the world. And I want to do that. So you're distilling until you get to this place where you start that venture, but with lots of power and lots of support that really comes from the validation and the work that we do. So that's what we do. The bow tie is really about turning wicked problems on the far left side of the bow tie into opportunities. That's what we do. We're not yet at the knot in the bow tie, folks. We're working through this process, and I want you all to understand and appreciate that that's what's happening here today. Now, we started what we started focused on two problems, and I'll say what those two problems are. And when I say we, I mean 10-10-10 and what 10-10-10 does. The focus has really been this. First problem, prospective CEOs like these, like me, like many, many friends of mine, we know how to start new ventures. We've done that before, and we can do it again. We're actually pretty good at that. But weirdly, oddly, we're not particularly good at knowing what new venture we should start. And let me say something about how important that is. We are all of us serial entrepreneurs. We are all of us actually investors. We are going to invest the next chapter of our lives in the thing that we start. That could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could go far beyond that. Not for me, but for some of these young folks. And that investment deserves a due diligence process. Financial investors will look at 1,100 deals to make 10 investments. And after they make those 10 investments, they'll be fully diversified. Our prospective CEOs, me, others like us, we're sort of all in. It's this one thing. So why then don't we have the due diligence process that lets us make a better, more intelligent, a more effective decision about the next thing that we do? Well, we need that. It's been missing. It's mostly do-it-yourself. Maybe entrepreneur in residence programs, things like that. But that one problem, that notion about helping entrepreneurs decide what they would do next is just one piece of the two problems we're solving. The second piece, and it fits together with the first, is this. We introduce our prospective CEOs and all of you to the world's wicked problems in particular sectors. And we've started with health. We've done 5 programs now in health. We've done 1 with water and infrastructure as the focus. And what we're really doing when we do this is treating those wicked problems as the disguised opportunities that these entrepreneurs care about. And more than that, we're recognizing in these wicked problems some powerful thing. They're magnets. These wicked problems are the magnets that have brought these people here, the prospective CEOs in this cohort. They brought me here, these wicked problems. They brought you here. Wicked problems are magnets for talent and for capital. They're magnets for the ideas that can turn those wicked problems into real opportunity moving forward. So, I want you to know how thrilled I am about what's happened so far, but I also want you to know it's just the beginning. We've seen 60 entrepreneurs go through the program now. It's been an amazing thing. We've seen real success in terms of what these entrepreneurs have done, but I say it's success in the early days. So it's early days in that we have 8 ventures that have raised capital. They've raised tens of billions of dollars. That's extraordinary. We see many people employed as a result of all of this. That's delightful. But it's really, really early. Because wicked problems, unlike tame problems, don't get solved in 2, 3, 5, or maybe 7 years. Wicked problems could take a lot longer. They could. And so, we ask you to be a little more patient than you might be with the entrepreneurs that are just tackling these measly little tame problems. This is not your dog walking app, folks. That's not what we're doing here. Okay. We want to bring wicked problems to the table. We want to bring successful serial entrepreneurs from around the country so that they can learn about these wicked problems and begin to invest the next chapter of their lives in a thing that could address them. And we want to see as many shots on goal as we can manage. So we want to keep doing this. We've done this in Denver 6 times. We'd like, by next year, to take our first shot at doing this in another city in addition to Denver. We want to do this in Denver next year, a couple times in Denver next year, but we want to take this elsewhere as well. And as we expand, as we grow, we want to be in 10 cities, 2 programs a year just in the US and beyond. So we're ambitious. If that happens, and it will, if that happens, I expect to see 100 new ventures a year created where the entrepreneurs are not creating new dog walking apps, but in fact, they're actually doing something meaningful and powerful. So, I'm not going to tell you what's happened here in the program. You're going to see and hear this for yourself. You can see these systems maps. There are also network maps. This is, for the first time, what we've introduced to the program with a great deal of help and support. And what's going to happen here is I'm going to bring up some folks that will help you see those things and understand them more clearly. This is just a tiny view into a big thing. And the big thing is what we expect to begin to do, not just in health, but in water, food, energy, learning, infrastructure, waste, security, and more. What we expect to do is create these maps in a way that makes them a public good and that allows validators, prospective CEOs, ninjas, others to use these maps to better understand what's actually going on. They'll get better and better and better over time. So I'm thrilled to welcome you all here. This is going to be an exciting time. You're going to hear from some amazing prospective CEOs. I'm delighted about that. And I'm about to get out of the way so that you can actually hear from the folks who have made all this happen. The last thing I'm going to do before I do that and step out of the way is I want all of you to help me acknowledge our extraordinary support through our sponsors. So this is the Colorado Health Foundation. This is the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. This is the Zoma Foundation, Rose Community Foundation, Cielo Foundation, and the Dever Foundation. So please join me, all of you, in thanking them. We could not do this without you. We absolutely could not. So thank you very much. That's the end of my segment here for a moment. I expect to see you on the backside, but thank you again for all of you for being here.
Now let's have a look at the wicked problems.
Public policy was being held hostage by stigma and fear,
economic instability,
and also held
healthcare
hostage were
system stress,
compassion, care,
social isolation in later life,
the importance and demands on family caregivers are greater than ever.
childhood mental and emotional distress,
Or a supervised injection site when you see there are people sick and these sorts of considerations.
sleep deficiency,
Why America, despite supervised injection sites, for example, is probably the most
ineffective pain management,
All we are saying is that allowing people to inject in a clean, dry,
preventable medical errors,
Constantly, I became passionate about mental health. The leading cause by advice.
misaligned health incentives,
Mental health special interest alumni club.
The National Institute of Mental Health reports 7.
fragmented care coordination, health illiteracy, patient disengagement, and inaccessible personal health data,
Coma is a curious disease. It's a bacterial infection.
health disparities at point of care,
2.5 billion people still not access. Concludes that a third
housing insecurity.
Often it's not talked about openly and honestly.
Please help me welcome two of our 10-10-10 team, Jennifer Crook and Lauren Hebert.
No, go on, go on. I'm Lauren Hebert, and you get a mic too.
And I'm Jennifer Crook.
And I'm responsible for much of the systems mapping that we've done in this program with the help of an extraordinary team of systems mappers.
And I've been a big part of the mapping and also helping to lead facilitation and facilitating conversations about these wicked maps and the wicked problems.
So by now you've realized that wicked problems are not just regular problems that have grown too big. No dog walking app, as Tom said, is going to fix any of these problems. They're a completely different kind of problem, and they can't be captured by metrics or in a simple infographic. They're nebulous, they're changing, and they don't live in isolation from one another. These problems are really woven into our world, and they thread through every aspect of our lives, our relationships, our companies, our institutions. And they have these long, tangled chains of causes and effects that sometimes spiral out of control. So it's no surprise that untangling these problem spaces is tremendously challenging. So naturally, we decided to give it a try. A couple of months ago, we began incorporating systems mapping and systems thinking, which is just a way of making sense of these really complex problem spaces, into this 10-10-10 program. Okay, so here's what that looked like. We brought together many subject matter experts, which we like to call validators, and with their help, we identified many of the factors at play driving the behavior of these wicked problems. Those factors became the nodes on our map. Now, as we connected those nodes, we began to find feedback loops that were keeping each of the problem spaces stuck. And now here's where the mapping got really interesting, because each of the feedback loops tells its own story. And as we connected those small feedback loops into something larger, we uncovered a narrative that told us about the whole system and the way it was interacting. And we uncovered dynamic relationships between all 10 of these wicked problems. So over here, you can see the results of our systems mapping efforts. Yeah, that's complexity illustrated. This map we lovingly call the Big Tangle, and it includes all 10 of the wicked problems. They're all captured here. That's over 400 nodes, 400 factors that validators helped us to identify, and all of the connections between them. So from this map, we extracted 10 wicked problem maps, which you can see hung up here behind me. And those were handed over to the prospective CEOs. And their job was to dig into these maps to discover leverage points, which are just places in the system where we can nudge or poke and hopefully create some significant positive change over time. So Jennifer is going to tell you a little bit about how that played out over the last 10 days.
So these maps make visible the complexity that we sometimes feel but can't explain. I think Kim shared some stories that we all probably felt something inside. And if you use these maps to tell a story, you may be able to feel that too if you haven't actually experienced for yourself. They help us see our role in the wicked problems. Maybe we suffer, maybe we contribute. Maybe we realize that we didn't even know we contributed to the wicked problems. We posed questions to the CEOs and ninjas. We had a morning where Lauren and I facilitated an event, and we asked questions. What role do you play in these wicked problems? What is that like? Why don't we talk about what it feels like to be a part of these wicked problems more often? How did we get this way? Where did they come from? All of these pieces are parts of the story of the wicked problems. They're not just systems, they're human behaviors, there's fears, there's misconceptions. All of those are woven into the wicked problems. I noticed that people very quickly saw and felt how interconnected the wicked problems were. And I think I noticed that that impacted how the CEOs and the ninjas went about exploring the wicked problems. It was exciting in the morning to hear the CEOs talk about the different ways they were looking at the wicked problems. Some of them found that the problems were interconnected and would explore the two spaces together. Others looked at the big tangle, and I really commend them for that. That's incredible. And they found nodes that were connected to huge portions of all of the wicked problems, and that they personally connected to, and they could try to find some founder opportunity fit there. I'll leave it at that. I saw, there were a couple other processes that I saw. It was, what if we were to look at the wicked problem that I'm drawn to most, and then use that as a lens to look at all of the other problems? What's similar? What's different? Are there loops in these different posters up here in the problems that are the same? Maybe that's a space. Maybe if I do something there, I can make an impact. And maybe it means that I actually need to figure out, how can I make a venture that looks like one of those wicked problems so that I can start to change it and impact it? That's really hard. So with everything that we've seen, I think there's going to be some really interesting talks tonight to hear about the journey of the actual CEOs and their exploration of the wicked problems. And as for these wicked problems, this is just the beginning. Thank you.
Please welcome Laura Rich, 10-10-10 Prospective CEO Lead.
Thank you. I love that my title is Prospective CEO Lead because it's really a misnomer. There is no leading these people. You were amazing. The 10 people that you are about to see next are exceptional individuals. They are driven by a passion to find the next venture that can make a difference. We talk a lot about founder opportunity fit at 10-10-10. Jennifer just mentioned it. And we create a structure of support to help entrepreneurs connect with that within themselves. But we at 10-10-10 also look for our own form of founder opportunity fit. We look for the individuals who are prepared for this next stage, who will leverage this opportunity at 10-10-10 to dive deep into wicked problems and self-explore even as they system explore. I can tell you that these 10 represent that. In the months leading up to the program, I spent time with many entrepreneurs to find this fit. We looked for experienced entrepreneurs who know how to articulate a vision, build and inspire teams, inspire investors, and create something of enduring value. These are some of the most inspiring and driven entrepreneurs who share those qualities, each with her or his own unique talents and perspectives as well. It has been a thrill getting to know you and being part of your journey, and I'm so excited for the rest of you to hear about what they've learned and accomplished over the last 10 days. So with that, help me welcome all of the entrepreneurs, beginning with Rashmi Joshi. Thank you.
What if I told you that with a single drop of blood, I could test for over 200 different conditions? So Theranos jokes aside, I would love to talk to you today about how we diagnose patients. And if there's one thing that I've taken away from my experience here with the 10-10-10 program, it's just how flawed diagnostics in healthcare is today. So I'd like to tell you a little story about that. A few years ago, I was flying back from India, and I saw a little scab on my arm. Within a week, that scab had spread to what looked like open wounds on over half of my body. I went to my primary care physician. I went to 3 different dermatologists. and I went to a couple of specialists, and no one could figure out what it was. They put me on antibiotics for over 2 years. That was the only thing that would keep that rash at bay. After those 2 years, I went back to India, and I was seen by a physician who within 10 minutes figured out what I had and treated it within 10 days. So this just goes to show that geographical factors matter when we're diagnosing patients, as do a whole host of other factors, including mental health, stress, sleep, family health history, and oftentimes genomic data. These are all missing in traditional electronic health records today. Physicians today are bombarded with fragmented patient data every day. They're also expected to remember everything that they learned throughout the course of their 10+ years of medical education. I mean, I can hardly remember what I had for dinner last night, can you? What if you had a single place where you could own and offer access to your health data to different providers in an easily digestible visual format? What if you could avoid unnecessary trips to the doctor and get, with a defined percentage of accuracy, an understanding of the condition that you're experiencing using the power of AI? And what if this AI cross-referenced your symptoms with your personal health history, recent innovations in healthcare, genomic data, contextual factors, and also social determinants of health? The future of personalized, preventable medicine is here. And her name is Anna. Thank you.
Hello, thanks for being here. I'm really pleased to actually have a chance to talk with you today. Last time I was kind of a humble brag and I didn't really feel great about it, but I really want to speak today about caregiving because caregivers are the forgotten and most important component of a $3.4 trillion industry. They're burning themselves out and there's not a penny of support because when a loved one loses their independence, 99% of the care that you or they will receive comes from the one that loves you most. Ignored, exploited, the care almost amounts to $670 billion annually at minimum wage. It's really an injustice. This will incur either for you or as you provide for others. My mom is seen here with my grandmother, full-time caregiver. She's committed to this work, but 1 in 4 will not have a loved one, and many more will quit, or many say no thanks, because the sacrifice is real. There's about $324,000 predicted in lost wages and Social Security, and being committed to this work is difficult. 83% of decisions will come from this caregiver in a family, but she decides likely it's not worth it. It gives up. Institutional care is easier. No one really wants to be there. No one wants to do it. The caregiver really needs to have an opportunity that changes this perspective. My formula here basically describes how support and exploitation of caregivers leads to health value in their communities, community health and wealth. So what can we do? What can we do to support this superhero of the health system? Give her a boost. Who can she trust? Who can she think that's empathetic? Well, it's somebody who's been there, of course. And we estimate that there's about 100 million experienced caregivers in the U.S. today. They've been there, they've done that, they've gotten the t-shirt. Would they be interested in making a few dollars just to talk, to discuss, to lend a hand, to be that supportive person? I think so. A caregiver-to-caregiver support system might help you keep your job, maintain your health, provide for your family, make our community stronger, personalized one-to-one, and friends you can really count on. Neighbor care is what we call it. We utilize a new workforce, retired from active caregiving, but certainly not useless. Tips and tricks, soft skills, perhaps a night off. If you're here to find a sexy startup, we're not it. But it is a two-sided marketplace, a difficult one to create, where you get points for the more care that you give. Those points are used to pay an experienced caregiver to support you, often free, but always valuable, both of how you acquire it and how you spend it. This company needs your help. We all need your help. And I must start with you in Colorado, because partnerships, community builders, payers, providers, the whole ecosystem could really benefit by looking at a new perspective of this almost unlimited value. I'd love to talk with you afterwards. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is CJ Whalen, and I'm from Centennial, Colorado, so one of the local guys here. And I want to tell you a little bit about my journey these past 2 weeks with 10-10-10. So you know how we all get way too much email, our inboxes are full with stuff we never get through? Well, just a few months ago, I got an email that started with, "Entrepreneurs looking for your next big thing?" To which I said, "Well, yes I am." So I clicked the email, read some more, got an idea of what 10-10-10 was about, and its message really resonated with me. One thing led to another, and here I am before you now. So what have these past 2 weeks been like for me, and what have I learned? First, I've made an incredible network of colleagues, mentors, subject matter experts, and most importantly, friends. More tangibly, I've learned a new mindset, a new approach to entrepreneurialism. I feel like that I can now look at and take on what seems to be some of the most intractable social problems, wicked problems, and be a part of solving them. Too often we think that individual entrepreneur with a startup has the ability to really attack these wicked problems, and that's not true. I have a new set of tools in my toolbox. My team took on the time to review each of the 10 wicked problems. We spent a lot of time interacting and learning from many of the other amazing ninjas and validators. The value of those exchanges and connections cannot be overstated. In fact, it's one of the most powerful things of this program. Along the way, we learned something very valuable, and that is there is a difference between being empathetic towards a problem versus being ready to invest your time, talent, and energies as an entrepreneur towards them. We settled on the problem of social isolation in later life, basically when you retire and transition. Our potential solution involves working with recent retirees and capturing those folks before they slip into social isolation, providing them with an option for continued participation in the workforce while still having meaningful social interactions. Essentially, we want to solve the problem before it even begins. We have just begun our work. We're still looking for input, but we're well on our way, and stay tuned. I want to take a moment to say thank you for the incredible experience I've had these last 2 weeks. I'm very grateful to have been a part of it. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to the incredible staff who have worked so hard. Thanks to Tom and Laura for bringing me in. My fellow CEOs, let's go change the world. Thank you for my family being here tonight. And I also want to say thank you to my ninjas, Megan Little and Kay Newman. You are amazing, and I look forward to continuing working with you. Thank you.
America made us a promise. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. But somewhere along the way, we broke that promise. I've been in healthcare for the last 16 years, and if I spent the next 30 working in it, I wouldn't run out of things to fix. Here, I've chosen to focus on the implicit belief that a patient will comply with their care plan. Sometimes when a doctor tells you to do something, it's easy, so you do it. But often it's hard, and it's easier to give up, so you do. We know it's important to understand a patient in their context, in their zip code. Food, transportation, health, environment, these all teach us about somebody and help us understand the choices that they make. We know that social determinants of health drive cost. Looking at lack of adherence between medication, diet, and exercise, together these drive more than $500 billion of cost a year. But here's 80216. It includes Elyria, Swansea, and part of Park Hill, two completely different neighborhoods masquerading as one zip code. Clearly knowing just the zip code isn't enough to help us understand a patient who lives here. This is why we introduced the concept of Zip 9. It's where you live, work, how you get between the two, and who you live with, whether that's your pet rock, your family, or your extended family. Here's a rough sketch of what we have in mind. A doctor just makes a health recommendation to a patient. The system then recommends ZIP-9 relevant resources to a community health worker who coaches the patient through to achieving their goals. Say hi to Luis. He lives with his wife, children, sister's family, and mother-in-law. He's a mechanic at Suncor, and his doctor wants to get his health in better shape, lose some weight, before his heart surgery. Otherwise, there's a high risk of complications. Because he works the night shift, he has limited access to grocery stores in his neighborhood. So we coordinate with his mother-in-law to buy the healthy food and sign her up for a cooking class in her neighborhood at her local church. To help Luis exercise more, we set him up with a virtual trainer and exercises that he can do from home. His hard work pays off. His surgery is a success, and the length of stay is reduced, saving either the payer or provider money over what it would have otherwise cost. So this is just an idea. It's my idea on a napkin, essentially. To make it real, we need a provider who's reimbursed by bundled payments, or a foundation who believes in this mission to support a pilot. I can't do this alone, but with your help, we can restore the great American promise.
Imagine that one of your loved ones recently tried to commit suicide. After calling 911, they get placed in an ambulance, were taken to a hospital emergency room, and after about 2 hours, she finally gets to see a psychiatrist who gives her about 10 minutes of not much attention, doesn't really listen to what she has to say, and transfers her, or schedules to transfer her to an inpatient facility with terrible conditions. Conditions like the one she has to wait in for an extra 8 hours. Small room with no windows and white light. Now, when I came to 10-10-10, I expected to be on a journey, but I didn't expect that this would become my reality over the last 48 hours. Over the last 10 days, my team and I looked across the 10 wicked problems, and we discovered one thing that really underpinned all of them and much of Western society in general. And that thing is compassion, or really the lack of compassion in Western society. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, just the ability to empathize with people. I mean, and the lack of this really leads to deep social isolation, which later on leads to feeling emotional health issues like depression and anxiety, and even long-term health issues down the line. And this, I just mean the ability to talk to someone, to feel held, to feel listened to. Now, we know that we're not going to be able to solve social isolation or the feeling of compassion, the notion of compassion in our culture in the next 5 to 10 years. So when thinking about a solution, we thought about a 500-year time frame. What could we do today that would change the way we live our lives 500 years from now? And the answer is actually quite simple. It's building communities. And how do we do this? I mean, it's something that we've lived with for the entirety of human evolution and has been slowly stripped away from us over the last several hundred years. What we settled on was a solution that really combined two factors. The first is physical interactions, having a physical event that teaches people and facilitates compassionate interactions with one another. And the second is a digital component that also facilitates these types of compassionate, empathic interactions online. So you can maintain communities even after some physical event happens. So now what I would like you to do is simply imagine what a future would look like where everyone has gone through one of these types of experiences, where everyone actively contributes to a compassionate, empathic community, and where the value of our social interactions is no longer transactional, but really empathic. Maybe in that future, your doctor or your healthcare provider could show a certain degree of empathy and compassion towards you that you would expect, and that might actually help you feel better. So if you're interested in this future, we invite you to join us in creating it. Please come talk to us after this. Thank you.
That was incredible. Can everybody give them another round of applause? All the hard work and the incredible ideas. So what I wanted to say was that we really advocate self-care at 10-10-10. So what we want to do right now is just a stretch and some selfies. So if everyone could stand up and take some selfies, and then in about a minute or two, we'll resume. So don't go anywhere, literally. Thank you. Okay, can I ask everyone to take their seats again, please? I know, yeah. Thank you. I hope everyone got some great pictures. Don't forget to hashtag 101010 Denver, hashtag Wicked Problems, and to tag us. Okay, thank you. So, very quiet. Thank you. So we have 5 more incredible prospective CEOs, as we call them, beginning with Mark Washington. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Denver. I came to 10-10-10 in order to reconnect with my passions around making an impact and also to reset after the sale of a company I recently started. My family, this is my family, they are the most important thing in my life. They are my rock. I wouldn't be here if they weren't in my life supporting me. My wife has supported me through multiple companies. But there's a bigger family that I interact with, my intergenerational family. There is a ton of wisdom tied up in these faces and in these lives. From old to young, that knowledge can pass and flow. But the problem is they are scattered all over the country. I can't tap into them without a phone call, not face-to-face. There's a lack of connection. My current situation is this. My grandmother came to visit us in November for Thanksgiving. She decided to stay for about a week. She extended her stay. She extended her stay. She extended her stay, and she is still living with us 6 months later. Now, most people would see this as, a scary proposition, living with, this is in fact my mother-in-law. But she has imparted so much knowledge on my kids. She has changed the way they've interacted with each other and with the world around them. So what I chose to do was take a look at the intersection of 2 wicked problems: the social isolation for senior adults and childhood mental illness, both of which are impacting my family. And in looking at that, I saw that a solution lied in my own situation. There is a solution around putting these two groups of people together and letting them interact in a way that has historically, in our not-so-distant past, been the norm. So we looked at a number of different ways to solve this problem, digging deep into some of the network maps that you see behind me, and really trying to pick them apart. And ultimately came up with a number of solutions, not the full scale of solutions that are possible, but a number that are very feasible for us. And that encompasses a lot of different things, from Airbnb type solutions, forums where people can come together, interact, exchange knowledge. And in looking at all these problems, we saw that combination, just bringing people together in a way that allows that knowledge to transfer, is invaluable. So I'd like to say a big thank you to my team of super ninjas, Crystal and Alexis, wherever you are. Thank you so much for your help in digging into these problems. And please come talk to me afterwards. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Keenan Hopkins. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. I'd like to start off by giving a huge thank you to all of the 10-10-10 staff, everyone involved in 10-10-10, and the Denver startup community as a whole. I've had a wonderful time here. So I was drawn to 10-10-10 initially because I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'd like to be an impact entrepreneur. In 2016, I sold my company, Valet Gourmet. At Valet Gourmet, we believe that by putting people first, everything else tended to fall into place. I personally witnessed the magic that happens when you do exactly that. Since then, I've been a company culture consultant. So what is company culture? I'm here to tell you it's more than just mission, vision, and values. It includes other things, such as employee engagement and empowerment. It includes frameworks, leadership, communication, how we interact with others, and company purpose. In fact, employees who have a strong connection to their company are over 5 times more likely to stay. So my 10-10-10 experience has been fantastic. I'd like to add another 10, though, because I'm pretty sure I've gained 10 pounds from all the wonderful food and beer around here. So on day 3, I got to meet my wonderful team. This is Stephanie and Kevin. Turns out they're a lot smarter than me, and we had a great time together. We started digging into the big global problem that I believe is called the Big Tangle. I just learned that. And we found this node right in the middle that's called effective communication, teamwork, and leadership. That really stood out to us. And then we noticed that that particular node actually influences almost 90% of the rest of the nodes. So instead of tackling one wicked problem, we could tackle this, and that would influence a lot of other things. And then we started wondering, if the largest, fastest growing, and most profitable companies on earth are prioritizing culture, why is it so rare to see in the healthcare system? We know that a positive company culture increases employee engagement and happiness and decreases turnover. Employee turnover in the healthcare industry is 18.2% in the US. That's almost 10 points higher than all other industries. In Colorado, it's a little bit higher than that at 19.1%. It's also estimated to cost employers $31 billion a year. In addition, physician burnout is at an all-time high. Physician burnout is strongly correlated with company culture and workload and administrative tasks. Physician burnout is also linked with suboptimal patient care, twice the risk of medical errors. Suicide rates amongst male physicians is 40% higher than other males. Suicide rates amongst female physicians is 130% higher than other females. So that's sobering, but there are solutions on the horizon. We are working on them, and we're working hard. We've talked to people. We've talked to a lot of people about this. It's a very real problem. Most importantly, why isn't the healthcare industry prioritizing this? My team and I have vowed to keep going. I've talked to other people about this. And again, we thank you so much. If you'd like to discuss this, please see me afterwards. I'm Keenan. I'm actually considering relocating to Colorado to start this business. So thank you again. Thank you again.
Good evening. I came to 10-10-10 to fulfill my personal mission statement of creating inclusive prosperity, and that requires addressing some wicked problems. Earlier in my career, I started off as a social justice warrior. and I approach these issues with distrust for the private sector. But wicked problems are such that no one sector can solve them alone. So coming here, I was able to make connections across sectors for a greater impact. And I started exploring the wicked problem of housing insecurity, because I'm interested in the impact of the built environment on our health. I've already been working on activating vacant industrial buildings to revitalize communities, and so I wanted to delve deeper into this issue. I learned that home ownership specifically correlates highly with individual and public health. And so I started to reflect on my own family's path to home ownership and how it affected the positive health outcomes I've seen in my family through generations. I'm a 7th-generation African American and a 5th-generation homeowner. My maternal great-great-grandparents were homeowners, and each generation since has owned a home. And this is highly unique given the legacy of slavery and discrimination. But somehow my family managed to buy and keep their homes, and this has had a positive impact on our family cohesion and our health for generations. But this is becoming increasingly hard to achieve, especially in large cities. My siblings and my cousins and I are among many people who work very hard, but still can't afford a home without help. I was lucky to be part of a land trust to buy my home. Another cousin was lucky to get a job that provided corporate housing benefits. My dad, a veteran and retired firefighter, bought a home with the help of veterans benefits, which he leveraged to start a business which provided income, jobs, including my first job, and it keeps him active in his retirement. But who offers this help now? So I'm focused on solutions that will increase the rates of home ownership, so we impact the health and prosperity long-term for families and communities. And some of these solutions are a new HSA, a home savings account as an employee benefit, or perhaps collective savings groups modeled on the immigrant experience of pooling resources and saving collectively to buy homes. And lastly, expanding the use of community land trusts to preserve affordability in high-cost areas. As I continue to explore these ideas, I'm looking to speak with experts in law, taxes, human resource benefits, real estate, and affordable housing and financial services. So I can be reached on social media or email, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Thank you so much.
See if I can do this without making a ton of noise and squealing. Ooh. All right. Hi, everyone. My guiding star is to help make the world a better place, and I love being part of building something that matters. Following the sale of my company, there's been a very specific void in my life. I'm retired, at home, and I'm getting cabin fever. And so I came to 10-10-10. There are actually several wicked problems that resonated for me, but I opted to focus on sleep deficiency because of the impact of it on society, organizations, individuals, and their families. But it's also a problem that on a personal level has quite literally kept me up at night. Over my time as CEO growing my firm to 140 employees, I developed an increasing problem with insomnia. I figured it was stress-related, but it's continued since I retired. So for 10-10-10, my team and I first explored if there are any promising medical advances that might be getting us closer to effective diagnosis and treatment. But to our surprise, we learned there are already very good diagnostic tools and straightforward resolutions to the vast majority of sleep problems. In speaking with experts and validators, we learned that this is a wicked problem in large part because people don't seek professional help. This is frequently because they don't know that they have a bona fide problem. I'm Exhibit A. I'm a reasonably smart, data-driven guy, and here's this thing negatively impacting my life in a significant way, but I haven't ever spoken to my doctor about it, nor sought other professional help. In fact, I'd grown increasingly resigned to being my new normal. And so I became our guinea pig, starting with an inexpensive wearable from local company Eversleep. In the last week, I've made more progress in terms of diagnosing and identifying solutions to my own sleep problems than I have in the last 5 years combined, which has mostly consisted of buying stuff off Amazon. We also learned that sleep deprivation is a wicked problem because many people who do seek help often don't complete their treatment regimens once things have improved enough. Kind of like not finishing a cycle of antibiotics once you start feeling better. There are also cultural factors like sleep deprivation being a badge of honor in our society. To some, sleep feels like laziness. So I'm oversimplifying here, but my takeaway is that the issue isn't about finding a cure, it's about motivating people to seek help and complete treatments. Ultimately, the issue of sleep deficiency is a wicked problem more about human motivation than anything else. It's tricky, and it has close tie-ins to other wicked problems as well. And while I have lots more to learn and evaluate, I have a strong sense there are business opportunities here to more effectively help get solutions into the hands of people who need them, to affect positive change in their lives and communities. And though I might be back around the house next week, 10-10-10 has inspired me to get back to my purpose. I plan to continue exploring a possible business because this wicked problem is interesting and it matters for myself and because I know there are millions of people struggling with similar challenges. Thank you.
Just 1 second. My name's Charles Sims, and the problem that my team and I are exploring is a universal electronic health record that tracks a person from life until the end of life, or as one validator said, from lust to dust. My background is in real estate development, so I really got off the plane without knowing much about anything, much about health. So I decided to, as a novice, listen and learn and go through the opportunity and discovery process. And what that was listening to people, having conversations, learning what they need, and attempting to find solutions to them that are market-based. My goal was to create a collective team culture where we could work together, listen to each other's ideas, and discover what we really needed. In doing that, we crafted some early solutions that we thought we could get to market quickly and possibly scale. And then my team and I, we had a fork in the road. We said, well, are we really here just to come up with a solution around the edges of wicked problems? Or are we here to really go right to the heart of it and try to tackle something really wicked? And with that, we regrouped. We came up with 3 possible solutions that we thought would really make a huge impact on healthcare. The first, a not evil insurance company. The second, collective bargaining for medical providers. And the third, a universal electronic health record. So what we did next was talk to patients, we talked to providers, and we talked to insurers. And our goal was to figure out what their needs were, whether or not we might be able to craft a solution that helped all of them. And with that, that's how we figured out that we may be able to transform the healthcare system in a positive way by focusing on this universal electronic health record. We figured with this, we could accomplish 3 major things. 1, empower people with their personal data so they can move their data seamlessly between providers without having interruption. 2, help better to coordinate care between providers, and so that caregivers and patients alike can prevent medical errors and reduce costs throughout the system by eliminating duplication. And 3rd, by creating a lifelong health record starting at birth, we may be able to create one of the most powerful research tools for solving complex health conditions ever created. 10-10-10 has taught me to be bold, to look at the problems that I would have never identified before because I couldn't immediately see a way to monetize it. And it's challenged me to take that forward, continue looking at this problem and others. I want to thank my team who've been absolutely incredible. Leticia, Tina, and Frank, you guys have been amazing, and I truly appreciate working with you. I want to thank 10-10-10 and the staff. Thank you.
All right, this is kind of awkward, folks. I've been told my presentation wasn't up to snuff and they want me to do it again. No, I asked organizers if I could say a quick thank you on behalf of myself and my fellow prospective CEOs. And I know you're probably thinking, because it sucks when you come to an event to hear about ideas and then people prattle on about an organization and rattle off a bunch of names and stuff. But hear me out. Imagine you're us. We came from all over the country, not sure what to expect. I confess I actually checked with my travel agent to see if I could change my flights in case it ended up being some sort of weird culty thing. But we arrived, and we met the 1010 staff who were busting their butts to ensure a successful event and saw the massive preparation that had taken place with so many people to make all this happen. So thanks to them for putting up with us and our tyrannical, megalomaniacal behavior, specifically Keenan, and I'm kidding. Anyway, a day or so in, we met all these volunteer participants, so-called problem advocates, ninjas, validators, sprinters, people who are smart, full of passion for their domain, investing a significant chunk of their time, volunteering in most cases, to be part of something larger than themselves, something that has the potential to improve our world. These folks have worked hard and have been instrumental in helping us explore the wicked problems and perhaps uncover our next ventures. So thank you to them. And for me, and perhaps others in my cohort, though I can't speak for us as a group here, this experience has been even bigger than that. Following the sale of my and exit from my company that I'd built since I was 23 years old, I've been going through an uncomfortable transition. In fact, until 10-10-10, I've come to realize, I was stuck in my professional past. I wasn't sure if I'd find a meaningful domain in people like the amazing mapping geography tribe that I've been part of for so long. But I have. I've met awesome, capable people who I like, and I want to stay in touch with and get to know better. Many I'd be honored to work with someday. Above all, the 10-10-10 experience shifted me from my focus on the past to excitement about the future. Look, I've done some fun stuff during my 7 months of retirement, but over these 10 days, I felt like myself again. I felt professionally alive for the first time in a while and excited about what's next and what's possible. And for that, which includes the energy of the people in this room here tonight, I say thank you.
They never make these tall enough. My name is Jay Nathanson. I'm the president of 10-10-10 and part of the founding team of X-Genesis. And you know, it's exciting to be at the 6th 10-10-10 program. In 2015, we actually thought we were going to have to rebrand. We were going to call it 10-10-10-10 because we had 10 inches of snow during February of 2015. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming out and leaning into the bomb cyclone that missed us last night. One of the things you've heard, and one of my chores and activities with 10-10-10 is recruiting validators. These are domain experts that help the entrepreneurs validate the wicked problems and help them identify whether they're on the right path to coming up with a market-based solution. And again, as you've heard, all of these people are volunteers and they're aligned with the wicked problems that we've identified for this year. So would you all who have been validators please rise? Thank you. We've also asked 2 of the validators to give you some indication of their experience in the 10-10-10 program. So would you please help me welcome Jill Elkema and also Andrew Hodge from Medical Group Management and Western Care Partners to the stage.
Yeah, that's gonna be too tough. That's okay. Thank you. So first of all, I mean, what's more validating than being a validator, right? Right? I agree, yeah. So we provided a deep understanding of a particular wicked problem. In my case, it was social isolation later in life. And I will say the first night that we had the big reveal and I saw the systems map, my first thought was, that's a tangle. So I learned that the way you work with systems maps or tangles is you start by giving things a name, and then you start giving the nodes a name. And then that brings me to the entrepreneurs, because you guys have this incredible ability to hold these tangles, these systems maps, and ask a lot of questions, some of which I didn't know the answers to. But you had so much enthusiasm, I would go find the answers, and you're able to just tease out these things that are important. And I think with you guys, the things that are congruent with your heart. I will say that being a validator was validating to me by being able to share where I'm working to address wicked problems. You let me know that I was in the right place, so thank you for that. And I spend every day with families who are struggling to figure out how to help a parent who's getting older. We know 1 in 5 people will be over the age of 60 by 2030. In Colorado, it's 1 in 4, almost 1 in 4 if you guys want to move here. And just today, I could have used 3 of the potential opportunities and solutions that you guys have been talking about. So I'm very excited. Thank you to the entrepreneurs, thank you to the ninjas, and thank you to 10-10-10, and I hope after this you guys get right back to work. Thanks.
Thank you, Jill. Again, my name's Andrew Haiti. I'm a senior industry advisor with Medical Group Management Association, and it's going to be hard to follow up after that, but I agree wholeheartedly that this experience has changed my perspective on the stage of health in America as it is today. I think if you look at all of the 10 items up on the boards here, we all can think of stories in our own lives that are tied to each and every one of these. After working in the medical field for 20 years, mostly managing large practices, I can tell you that I've personally seen preventable medical errors, and it really speaks to my heart. So I'm definitely passionate about everything that these CEOs are saying and doing. I think if even a small portion of that comes to fruition, we'll all be better off for it across the United States. So I'm super grateful and thankful for everything that they've done and for everything that 10-10-10, all the validators, all the ninjas, everyone in this room's doing right now. It's going to make a difference in the world. So I wanted to say thank you for all that. I'm thankful in my own life too. I get to spend a lot of time in my role as an advisor working with medical professionals from all over the country, advising them on how to improve quality, how to enhance and reduce on fraud, waste, abuse, all these things that happen in our world in healthcare. So I'm doing my little part, but this is so much bigger than that. So thank you to everyone for coming. I'm so glad to be a participant in this all, and just give it up for everyone. Thank you so much.
Please welcome Ben Weinberg, 10-10-10's Ninja Lead.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ben Weinberg, as was said. Our ninjas form the temporary startup teams, prospective CEO, wicked problems over the course of 10 days. You'll hear more from me in a bit. But right now I'd like to introduce Oliver Sanitas, who was one of this program's ninjas, and he'd like to give you some insight into what he did for the last week and a half.
First, let's hear it for the ninjas. Ninjas, yeah. So when Jeffrey and Ben asked me to talk on behalf of the ninjas, I was incredibly humbled because the group of people who volunteered their time to be here were amazing. And to ask me to speak for you, I mean, you're all crazy, but you're all amazing. So our experience was really interesting. None of us really, except for people who had been here before, none of us knew what to expect. We're going to meet with a bunch of CEOs about wicked problems we've never heard about. Will these CEOs like us? Will we like the CEOs? I don't know. But over the past 10 days, I have formed personally some incredible bonds. I found a community that, in my opinion, will be unbreakable. We'll keep that together. And what I also learned is this is the kind of workplace I want to live in, is a workplace like this. So for all that, I thank you for letting me be a part of it, but I really think we should all thank the ninjas for their time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ollie. That was great. We're all in Ollywood. I'd like to close my piece of this quoting a poem. It's like my favorite poem, Two Tramps in Mud Time by Robert Frost. Men of the woods and lumberjacks, they judged me by their appropriate tool. Except as a fellow handled an axe, they had no way of knowing a fool. What a person does matters much more than what a person says. And without exception, these ninjas have swung their axes well this past week and a half. Those efforts, along with the future work of the prospective CEOs and probably some more ninjas and some validators, will ultimately be what determines the success of this program. One quick more line from the same poem. Only where love and need are one, and the work is play for mortal stakes. Told y'all I'd do that. Is the deed ever done for heaven and the future's sakes? The work surrounding wicked problems is by definition played for mortal stakes, where love and need intertwine. To me, that's why we do what we do. Every ninja in the audience, whether you were a part of this program or a past program, please stand up. I can't possibly tell you how much I appreciate your intelligence, your sense of duty, your knowledge, and your work ethic. Without you, this program could not happen. And with you, it can do anything. Be proud of what you've done.
Please welcome back Tom Higley and Kim Bemesteffer.
You sure? Okay. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, all of the prospective CEOs. Thank you, validators and ninjas. There's a lot of thank yous to go around here. And I really want to thank you, Kim, for joining us here today. We have a couple of pieces in the program here that are a function of the relationship that we enjoy with our partners and with the sponsors and the folks that have made all of this possible. One of those pieces, in addition to validators and ninjas, is the collection of sponsors that you can see referenced here. So again, thank you to the Colorado Health Foundation. Thank you to the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, Zoma Foundation, Rose Community Foundation, Cielo Foundation, and Denver Foundation. Applause for all of them, please. So I want to, this is a longer list of sponsors, an extraordinary list, but one thing I just have to call out, and this is a big, big deal to me. The new 101010.net website, the handbook that we used, the deck that you're seeing, the graphics for all of that would not have been possible without Gravitation, without Matt Fay and Bethany. They killed it. They just have done a wonderful job for us, and I'm really, all the prospective CEOs' presentations got a lift, a powerful lift from what Gravitation did. So again, if you need that kind of help or assistance, you should use them. Please do. So Matt Fay, wherever you are, thank you. So Kim, I want to maybe ask you to come up and say a last word or two, and then I'm going to come back to a couple of other sponsors I need to talk about.
So on behalf of the state, we want to say thank you. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your creativity, your diversity of thought, your energy. We want you to make a difference. We are so inspired by everything that has been said tonight, and I hope you draw back. If you're staying here, we hope you bring that inspiration with you every day for a long time to come. If you go back to your hometowns, we hope you bring that inspiration and that you draw on these connections, the love, the ability of all of you to find that place where you want to spend time, that you are motivated to make a difference every minute of every day. And when you do that, you're not working. You're having fun. As well, I would invite you, this is not just a state of wonderful things like creativity and healthcare, but we are a brewer state. And after this is a little time to have some camaraderie with a brewer and all of that over there. And I'm going to be close to the bar, and I would like to talk to all of you who have some good ideas. And again, we want you here, we want your energy, and we are so inspired and so appreciate that you have spent an amazing experience here in Colorado. I look forward to talking to you in the cocktail hour.
Thank you, Kim. All right. We're in the final stretches here, but there's some really important pieces here. We have a wonderful partner in Global Minded that we want to promote. And I want to give Dr. Sheila Davis an opportunity to come up and speak a little bit about that program. She's an extraordinary person in her own right. She's validated for the wicked problem, health disparities at the point of care. She's Director of Research and Evaluation for Global Minded. Global Minded is a 501c3 organization founded by my friend Carol Carter. And Dr. Davis, I'd like to have you come up.
I realize that I am standing between you and the reception, so I will keep my remarks brief. So I am here this evening to invite you to the Denver version of South by Southwest. It will be June 5th through 7th at the downtown Sheridan, which is a few blocks from here. And I'm going to give you some background on Global Minded. I'm sure all of you have seen photos of Felicity Huffman exiting various courthouses on the covers of the New York Times and Wall Street Journal over the past 3 weeks. And this has been in connection with her involvement in the emerging elite college admissions scandal. Well, this scandal is symptomatic of a larger issue, and that is that colleges and universities, on average, cater to privileged students, despite the federal Pell Grant program and institutional initiatives. Just how bad is this problem? Students who identify as low income or first generation graduate at rates of 10% at the baccalaureate level. This is a wicked problem in this country, and it requires a wicked solution. And Carol Carter and the Global Minded team have been creating a diverse talent pipeline of first generation, low income college students, women, people of color. And this talent pipeline is supported by people like you, inclusive leaders across all sectors. And the annual conference is part of our strategy. Our annual conference will feature global thought leaders, people that Oprah interviews, in areas like education, healthcare, STEAM, and technology. You are all invited. I have flyers. I will be passing them out at the bar. And I just want to conclude my remarks by saying it has been a privilege to work with all of the prospective CEOs as a validator. You are inspiring. Thank you.
Oh, we're so close. We are. I'm going to speed read a little bit here, but I want to give attention to all of these folks because they've been so incredibly supportive of us. In addition to our major program sponsors who I've talked about, Pushkin PR, we couldn't have done what we've done without this. Global Minded, of course. Thank you so much. And thank you to those who provided the program venues in support of Avant-Garde Productions, Lightworkers Republic, TV8, InWorks, the Nature Conservancy, which really provided their space to us during this time. We could not have done what we did without that. We're deeply grateful. Flow Water, that kept us hydrated, all of us. Enterprise Co-working Space, Colorado Health Foundation, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, Rose Community Foundation, Denver Foundation, Cielo Foundation, Denver OED, KO Law, Delta Dental, Denver Health Foundation, Snooze Will Call, Little Man Ice Cream. Really, that was great, right? Denver Pizza. Thank you to all our partners. We're really, really thankful for your support, and we couldn't do this without you. Okay. Now I have to invite to the stage the team that made all this possible. I have to tell you, it's the most extraordinary team. It's just an awesome group of folks. Will you please join me on stage? Laura Rich. Lauren Hebert. Jennifer Cook. Carlin Getley. Siegel. Ben Weinberg. Ken Frickles. Jeffrey Nathanson. Yeah. Yes. This is an amazing team, folks. Thank you very, very much for everything that you've done. All right, last little bit. Takes a village of villages to make good on this 10-10-10 promise. We're working on that, this village of villages. We're working to create an experience that can be delivered to these 10 cities by 2025. That's important. But even now, the first of these villages has come together in a powerful way, and you're all a big part of this. I want you to help me thank all of you. So this is the applause for yourself in this. Thank you very much. This is the first day of the next chapter of the lives of these next prospective CEOs here. Please stand with me to honor and thank those who've chosen to explore the wicked problems. One more. Last thing, audience members, marching orders. There are systems maps for each of these wicked problems. We want to hear from you. There are sticky notes that you can use back there to identify the wicked problems that interest you. They're all taped up the back there. Please don't forget. You're going to go to the reception. You're going to go find the bar. You're going to see Dr. Sheila Davis and get your flyer for Global Minded. But as you do all this, tag these wicked problems. Thank you very much.